double check, make sure we're live. Oh, I am. Perfect. Let me just do a real quick share. Oops. Uh-oh. Stop. Share. Right, post. Nope. Share to a page. I'll cut all this out. Share. Something went wrong. Share. Okay, perfect. All right, cool. Well, here I am, trying a new program here. Let me get my comments thing going, so hopefully I can see if anyone comments. But this is Cocktails and Questions Live. So we're going to be doing this on a live setting now. I'm hoping to do it this way from now on, but thanks for tuning in. If you're live, even better. Otherwise, if you're watching or listening, really appreciate a few minutes here. Today we are going to, or I'm going to be trying I've had this before, full disclosure, but I do like it quite a bit, and it's a nice summery beer, but it's the Cali Creamin', it's called Creamsicle. Let me make sure it's not too blurry here. Creamsicle by Mother Earth Brewing Company out of, these guys are local. This is out of Vista, Southern California. So let's take a peek here, and today we're going to be going over kind of what protocols we're required to follow and what we're doing personally to make sure that our listings are still selling, our buyers are still out looking for property, and how we're kind of navigating this coronavirus climate as it does rapidly shift almost by the day now. So let's give this a shot. It's kind of like a 50-50 bar, like an orange creamsicle. Very, very good. I like it quite a bit. Different, but very good. So hopefully you can hear me. I know you can see me, but I'm hoping you can hear me. If you can't, drop me a comment, and I will hopefully be able to address it. But anyways, so coronavirus. What do we have to follow? What do we have to do specifically right now? So the two biggest things right now on a listing side or buyer's agent side, or what our sellers and buyers have to do, is there are required disclosures and advisories right now prior to anybody entering any property. So the most common one right now is called the PEAD. It's Property Entry Advisory Disclosure, I believe it is. And what this is now it's a California Association of Realtors required form. Let me just close this out. Sorry, first time trying this new program. It's slowing down my computer a little bit. But Property Entry Advisory Disclosure, and this is required by anybody entering the property. It could be a buyer, could be an agent, it could be a vendor, an inspector, an appraiser, anyone entering the property for the sale of the home is required to sign. It's a 2-page document put out by the California Association of Realtors, and basically states what you'd think it would. Coronavirus and COVID-19 are a serious pandemic. It's not the flu, it's more serious than the flu, all the things that you would think it would say with respect to the health advisory. And then basically you have to certify that you're symptom free, you've not been around anyone with coronavirus, you've not been traveling out of the country within a certain period of time, and then you also have to express by this disclosure that you have exhausted all of the online marketing materials, meaning you've seen the property online, you've looked at the photography, there's a video, if there's a virtual tour, if there's a 3D interactive tour like a Matterport or an Asteroom tour, that you've seen all of it and that you still want to see the property in person. So those are all required now prior to entering a property, which is kind of why open houses in the typical fashion are not going on right now. They're not allowed, first of all, and then secondly, that's kind of why is if someone pulls in off the sign in the yard, there's no way they would be able to have seen everything beforehand. On the listing side, so when we meet with a seller, what disclosure is required with that paperwork? And this is called the CAA form. I forget what it stands for, to be honest. I think it's Coronavirus Advisory Addendum. as well. But what this states is basically this has control over who's allowed on the property and for what purposes. And what documents are they going to require of anyone that wants to see it. So they can state, this is up to discussion with their agent, hopefully us or whoever it might be, but up to their agent for if they want the buyers to show proof of funds or basically the ability to purchase, saying that I've got the income that's required, I've been pre-qualified for the loan, and here's my source of funds. These are all required throughout a transaction, but some sellers are able to now, or sellers in general are able to kind of hold off on showings until they know that the buyers are not only motivated, but able to purchase the property. So those are both good things. In general, it does kind of fend off a lot of the, what we call them looky-loos, nosy neighbors, that kind of a thing, and I mean that endearingly. But that's kind of, those are the two things that are required. Now, what's important to know too is this: the PEAD form, the one on the buying side for, again, vendors and inspectors. Anytime the property is accessed, a new copy of that form is required. So if, for example, an agent brings their client by for the first showing, the PEAD form is required. When they come back the second time to well, I would say show mom and dad, but right now showings are a bit tricky, as we said. So when they come back a second time for the inspection, home inspection, a new form is required by now the agent, the buyers, and the home inspector. The third time, when they meet the appraiser there, the buyers have to sign that they're going to be there, as well as the appraiser, so on and so forth. So this form, you might have 10 copies of this form by the time the transaction is done. What else? Now, as of last week, middle of last week it was, California Association of Realtors now made it mandatory to have a posting on the front door of any listing. Again, saying what you think it would say: be symptom-free, you've not been in contact, stop, don't enter. These forms are required. If you have any of the following symptoms, do not enter the property. Masks and gloves are required and highly recommended. Again, just another line of defense to make sure that these homes are kept as clean as possible with a number of people coming through them at any given point. Yeah, we talked about open houses. Had a couple of notes, but we talked about open houses, how they're not allowed right now. What we've been doing and what certain agents have been doing are called virtual open houses, where we can actually publish them in the MLS, which will syndicate out to Zillow and the third-party sites that you're familiar with, and our site too. Hopefully, you're looking at forrealestatehelp.com. Anyways, actually, the open house in a typical fashion that you would expect. Open houses are completely removed from the MLS altogether. So now there's what's called a virtual open house field. And this is not a virtual tour. This has to be a live virtual open house. And if you were on here last weekend, we had one in Cypress, and then I was at the one we had in Anaheim. And these are live walkthroughs. So we each did two windows, a 2 o'clock window and a 3 o'clock window, where we kind of toured the property live on Facebook and live on Zoom to anyone that wants to see it. Now, being that it goes out to the public and goes out on Zillow and Redfin and Truly and all these other websites, is a lot of exposure to them, and this is a great way to, again, look at a home live without having to leave your house or worry about the protocols in place. So it's also a great first chance to look at a property as well. And the typical open houses, we were talking about this morning on our weekly office meeting. No signs in place of when they're going to come back. I know things are rapidly changing now in California with respect to what's opening. Even the past 4 days, we've seen churches, we've seen barbershops and salons opening tomorrow. We've seen retail opening. So a lot of things are changing very, very quickly. So as new information comes out, I will definitely be back on here again to go over them at potentially a different Cocktails in Question episode, or maybe even just a Facebook Live in general. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Flyers aren't allowed. We can't have print flyers to take. We're allowed to have one flyer at the property that the buyers can see, but they cannot take it right now. It's another stipulation. What we've been doing now is we've actually done this for a number of years, so it's kind of one of the things that we've done to kind of prepare ourselves for something like this, but we have a QR code and a .com domain sign in the front of the property that leads them directly to what's called our virtual flyer, or the pictures and video virtual tour that we've got online as well. So a lot of the things that we've done personally in the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years now have kind of prepared us for the shifting marketplace and the shifting climate that's going on right now. But we are definitely learning at a rapid pace, and things are changing by, I mean, my goodness, almost the day. I know back in the beginning of April, or end of March, we weren't essential. Then we were essential. What we can do, we can't show property. Now we can show property. So things are getting more clear, but it is changing very quickly. So it's important to be on top of it. If you have any questions about how this might pertain to your situation, if you're looking to buy, looking to sell, whether it be now or in the future, let me know. We're happy to help go over anything that any questions you might have. We do this for a living. This is all we do. We're the three of us are all full-time local realtors. This is, again, our bread and butter. We don't have part-time jobs. This is everything. So we do want to keep on this as best as we can. For information on our virtual home buying or home selling programs, where you can actually buy or sell a property with little to zero out-of-home experiences, especially on the buying side, you can actually buy a house without even stepping foot inside. Not that you want to necessarily, but we do have a program in place that can help you with that. That's www.4realestatehelp.com. That's our website. All the information is there. Feel free to reach out. Hop on Facebook, send me a message, shoot me an email, chasewhitney@firstteam.com. I really appreciate you watching or listening. Have a great day.